Check, 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 check.
This says it's Mike 9, Steven.
Check, 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 check. Check, 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 check. 1, 2, check, 1, 2, check, 1, 2. How's your heart, sir?
My heart's good.
Good.
Good deal.
Check. Check, 1, 2. Check, check. Check. Where's it at? Where's it?
That one right there. When you're talking to it, signal's picking up, but I can't find like a mute button. Unless it's this.
Should be. Check, check, check. It's on.
Yeah. Trying to see if there's something else muting like the whole board.
Let's track. Call him.
This is the mic. I mean, you're about where we're at. We're just hitting buttons right now. Trying to see if something works. Hey Jeffrey, sorry to call you this morning. So we're trying to get our parent meeting set up, and we're trying to get sounds to work. And I know you got choir stuff set up on here. Well, just one of the microphones so we can don't have to yell through the whole parent meeting. I was gonna say we have mic 9, yeah, but we can't get it. I see that it's got signal going to the board, but we can't get it to have sound coming out. And I didn't know if there was like a mute all button or something on here. Yeah, the on button's on.
Check, check.
Yeah, WL9. Bank D. No. Oh, okay. Unmute it, so turn it on.
Check, check, check. Check, check, check.
Yeah, I'm still not hearing anything coming through the mic. So it's lighting up. Okay.
Check, check, check.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No. Okay. Try it now.
Check, check, check.
Is that coming through any speakers that anyone can hear?
Hello?
Still no. Okay. Mm-hmm. LR's just above 0, same with mono. Oh, no. On. Turn them both on. Then mute all box.
Check, check.
Hey, there we go. It's working now. Awesome. Thanks, man.
Check, check. Yeah, it works. Good morning, everyone. If you want to slowly come in and find some seats, I know there's still a few folks kind of meandering in, and we hopefully have the live stream going. It was working a little bit ago, and I'm hoping that's still up and running at the moment, too, for folks watching at home. Is there any council member back there that can see if there's anybody still in the lobby that we need to... Okay. So I'm going to give it another like 30 seconds or so, and then we'll get started with the presentation. I think I've got my clicker. Yes, I do. In fact, I'll go on to the next one just so you can kind of see a little overview of what we're going to go over today. Okay. Hopefully, that's what I was going to say. Jeff, that's you, man. I'm just kidding. Just maybe encourage, yeah. I don't want to take more of everybody's time than I absolutely have to, so I just want to make sure we can get started here in a moment. I will at least start with an introduction. I'm Mr. Risch, if you've not seen me before, new parents. I'm the band director here at Mountain View High School. I am just finishing up year 10, and let's see, I'm going into year 11. Mary, you were there when I... Yeah, did that scare you a little bit? Yeah, okay. Actually, Nikki was there. Nikki was there too, because that was Jacob's first year. That is crazy. And then Ethan must have been a year after that, something like that. Haley too, yeah. So this is me finishing up year 10. I'm going into my second decade here at Mountain View High School. Mr. Tuneman, where did you end up? He was working on some tech stuff in the back for us. When he comes back in, I will make sure I introduce him. I'm going to start off the meeting by introducing our booster, what's the official term? The board of directors. So we have a booster council, which you're going to meet at the tail end of the meeting, and they're going to talk to you just very briefly about a few things that they do. But we also have a board of directors because we're a 501c3 nonprofit, our boosters are, and they actually have to have a little bit more oversight, make sure we're doing our taxes correctly, make sure that when we pay people or we pay for things throughout the year that we're doing things correctly and keeping our bookkeeping in order. Our president of the board of directors is Shane McCord. And these guys, they're just here to say hi. These are all former band parents. You can stand up, Shane. Yeah, they want to see you. But these are former band parents that have taken on some roles past their students' band careers and are all pretty much kids graduated through the program and graduate even through college at that point. And so Shane McCord's on the end, Dave Caveney here, Mary Cox, and Nikki Sanders. And I won't call you Nikki. What did I call you the one time when you were president? All of these folks have also in some way served, maybe not on the council, but also helped with the truck. All kinds of different jobs that we've had over the years. But they're former band parents, and I happen to know they also, a lot of them get together and things like that, and just have a great time and great relationships past band. So that's one of the reasons, and have remained close to me over the years as well. So we're very thankful for them and what they've done for our program in the past and continue to do. So we'll let you guys take off, but just thank you guys so much for continuing to serve, and we have a few more members as well that couldn't be here this morning, but yeah, so thank you so much. guys don't have to sit through the marching band meeting, but thank you for coming and at least being seen. I think they still wear their Shane Gang shirts. So, once again, thank you so much. For those of you coming in, I'm Mr. Risch. We're going to talk about all things marching band today because what we do in our program is more than just learn some music and learn some formations on the field. I have some very strong and passionate feelings about the things we do and teach out on the field that go beyond just the music and marching portion. And I do think that we have one of the kind of premier organizations in the state, not just from a competitive standpoint, but also from just a team building and kind of group/family atmosphere that we try to build here. And I hope that your kids, if you're new or if you've been here for a while, I hope your kids have sensed that throughout the years, or will sense that soon to come. So we'll talk a little bit about the band program. We're going to talk about the calendar, which is always a big portion of what we do, or important part of what we do, and it's important to understand expectations of the kids, some of the financial stuff that goes into paying for band, and then the band boosters. We'll kind of talk about that and let you meet all the boosters as well. So, roughly speaking, this year we're looking at about 125 students. That includes color guard, woodwinds, drumline, front ensemble, brass. Everybody is in the marching band. I get this question a lot. Hey, you sent out an email about the marching band. Does that include the color guard? Yes. Everybody up here is a part of the marching band, okay? And that's who we're speaking to. Are there sometimes a sectional for one group that meets at this time and a sectional for one group that meets at another time? Yes. But when we address the marching band, we're talking about everybody. We want everybody to say, okay, that's important information for me. And that's, for some reason, has been, some confusion in the past. But yeah, when we're talking about the marching band, we're talking about those people. We have roughly 13 staff members. We have, obviously, here's Mr. Tuneman, by the way. We found him. Mr. Tuneman is just finishing up year 3, just about to go into year 4 himself. We have 13 staff members, give or take. We have caption heads, which we have Wardell King, who you'll see in just a second. They're in charge of just just like the different sections and things like that. We'll show you them in just a second. We're one of the largest marching band or largest student organizations on campus here. I think maybe if you consider track as one unit, they might be slightly larger. But as far as like one team, we're up there. And we're part of the Spirit team. So at football games, we are in the stands, just like the Palm and Cheer is. When we do assemblies, we're a part of the Spirit organization at assemblies. Sometimes we get called in for special Spirit events, whether if we win like a state championship somewhere, we get called in to come in and play. There's some some back-to-school teacher events sometimes that we get called in to play for as well. So we're a part of that Spirit team here at Mountain View. We're a competing organization. That's where that sport comes in. We do compete, and we are very competitive, and I believe we're going to continue to get more competitive as the years goes on. I don't mean that necessarily in a, hey guys, we're adding 6 more rehearsals onto the schedule this year. I mean it more in a, we're designing better, and we're finding better ways to teach the kids and become more competitive, just as in the way we do things here at Mountain View. And we've actually cut down rehearsal time since I've gotten here, where we had a hour and whatnot. So we're trying to do things smartly to become more competitive. And then we also have our student leadership team, which is we call them SLT, but student leadership team. It's some older students that are section leaders, drum majors. We have equipment managers. We have a spirit commissioner. We have a band historian. All kinds of different roles, all the things that help us function as an organization. And when I mean giving kids good experiences, some of my student leaders are those kids that go on and achieve really awesome things. And I think the roles that they prepare for here in Mountain View really does prepare them for real world experiences, how to deal with people, but also how to encourage people and how to keep people together as a team. And I think that's something important that we maybe don't talk about enough. Our philosophy, and this is a part of kind of our 6 ideals that we talk about here at Mountain View. It's our band shield. You'll see it in the band room. We actually have this picture hanging up there. Respect, honor, intensity, spirit, teamwork, and service. And every single one of those things is a part of what we try to do. We do service projects that are band-wide. It's not really happened as much this year because of COVID, but we've done fundraisers for cancer research. We've done, just recently, one of the service projects that the incoming student leadership team was a big cleanup project to prepare for our new build and start getting rid of some things that I don't think we're ever going to use this projector that doesn't have an HDMI port ever again. Let's put this over here. Let's get this transferred out of here. And various items like that. Just finding ways to reach out to the community, but we've also done community things like going and playing some Christmas tunes at assisted living centers and things like that. So we try to do things that are community-wide as well, just to get our presence out there and serve in that way. But all of these things, starting from respect and down, are things that we try to instill in the kids every single year. Here's me and Mr. Tuneman. That's my daughter, Madeline. It's kind of an older picture. She is 3 now. She's like this tall for a 3-year-old. Okay, not quite, but she seems like that. She's really tall, long hair now. She used to be bald for the longest time. So you'll see a lot of pictures of her, I'm sure, throughout the years as she grows. This is some of our caption heads like I talked about. So we have a visual program. Jeff Whipple and Joey Higgins run the visual portion, teach the kids marching technique. We talk about posture a lot. We talk about some dance technique. We talk about a lot of different things related to movement. Wardell King in the middle there is our percussion caption head. You see him mostly with the battery, which is the snare drums, the quads, the bass drums that march out on the field. But he also oversees the front ensemble as well. Our other caption heads, Melanie Risch, my wife over there, again with Madeline. Going to have a lot of Madeline pictures throughout the years. Travis, she comes to everything, so it's like she's a part of the band. Travis Larson writes our music as well as runs our wind rehearsals. When it's just winds, he runs those specific rehearsals. But he writes our music and has kind of taken over as our show coordinator as far as helping design the show and kind of organizing us all in that capacity. So that's been great to have him. He's actually on the Blue Stars staff. He's the brass caption head for Blue Stars, who's a top 6 drum corps in the nation. So we're very happy to have Travis around too. And Wardell's worked with groups all over the country as well. So we're very proud of the staff we've been able to employ. So here's some things that are coming up. We talked about calendar, and this is important. There's dates always kind of coming up. There's always something that we're thinking about or doing. And it's not because we want to take as much of your kids' time as possible, as much of your time as possible, but we want to keep moving forward and keep planning for the next thing and not just surprise you with something new. For instance, instrument checkout's going to be coming up here pretty soon. Mr. Tuneman, do you want to chat just really quickly about this? But what we're going to do on May 26th, and current Mountain View students don't need to worry about this because we're going to take care of your kids before they leave for the summer. But all incoming freshmen, that's when we're going to actually do our official checkout time, is 4 to 6 on May 26th. If that doesn't work, just email Mr. Tuneman. You can see his email down here, and you'll see it as a part of emails in the future. Just email Mr. Tuneman if there's anything you need. And I'm going to let him talk just briefly. There's a couple other things he wanted to chat about quick.
Hello, everybody. If you do have questions, you can also reply to the weekly update that comes out on Mondays, because that's coming from my email, and those questions or those reply emails will go directly back to me. This in particular is for concert band instruments, so if you have a student who plays bassoon or tuba or anything like that, that's what we're going to be doing on the 26th. If you have a student who's a marching band student who's using a sousaphone or a marching baritone, marching French horn, we can do that today. fill out the checkout form, get all the information for that, and they can take that instrument home today so they can practice at home with it. So if you know that your student's using a Mountain View instrument for marching band, please don't leave right away if you can. If you have to leave, I totally understand. We can figure it out later. But if you can stick around for a bit, we can get all of that figured out, forms filled out, and they can take that instrument home with them today. And again, if you've got any questions, send me an email. I try to make sure I get back to them the day of. At most, it's a day later, but I'll gladly work around scheduling things. If I need to just show up on a random Saturday for 20 minutes to pass a bassoon off, that's totally fine with me, all right? We can work something out.
Thank you. So that's the next thing coming up in May other than next Saturday's last spring camp. In June, we are doing some, if you're in town, come to the band room and rehearse with your section kind of thing. We started doing this a couple years ago, and we noticed immediately the payoff into the next season because kids hadn't lost as much steam on their chops, or their playing ability was there. And we've had times when we come back for band camp in July where kids have not played for 7 or 8 weeks, and we figured, you know what? I think it's time that we instill some of these woodwind brass sectionals, especially. Percussion and color guard did already do some of these before, but we've added in the woodwinds and brass as well to just kind of keep people playing. And again, these are, if you're on vacation, go on vacation. Don't even worry about this. But if you're in town, why not stop by the band room for a couple hours? We'll look at some stand tunes as well. It ends up being a really just kind of fun rehearsal. Get everybody together. We're not doing any marching outside in the crazy heat. We're just trying to do our best to keep people playing and keep people connected, honestly, through the summer. It's just a really good way to keep the sections talking and seeing their friends and things like that. So we've found that these are really positive, and kids like them and just have a good time showing up at the band room once a week. So those for woodwinds and percussion, those are on Tuesdays. There's actually 5 Tuesdays this year in June, so if they can be there, woodwinds, brass, we're going to do 3 to 5. Percussion's going to go 5 to 7:30. Color guard is going to do Thursdays. There's only 4 of those, but they're going to try to go 4 to 7 for the color guard on those Thursdays. So everybody will roughly meet a similar amount of time when you add it all together. But that's when these rehearsals will happen, and they are on the calendar sheets that we handed out as well. And we'll probably have that in the email on the weekly update this coming week too. So that's June. July, we have summer band camp, and we have like 2 different weeks of this. So summer band camp part 1 is July 19th through the 23rd, and we'll talk about how those days go. Part 2 is the 26th through the 29th, and the difference really is the 26th through the 29th will not be a morning thing. We will meet afternoon and evening only, whereas summer band camp, like you're going to see, is on from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. So this is obviously where June is like, if you're in town, come to rehearsal, but don't worry about it if you're gone. This is where, okay, band camp is required. We need all hands on deck. This is where we start to really learn the show. This is where we really start to put things together on a macro scale, from every section starting to work on their individual stuff, but then we'll also in the night start putting some drill on the field pretty quickly. So we go 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. It's not 12 straight hours of rehearsal. We will meet here. Lunch will be provided. Dinner, there will be a 2-hour break. So what we do typically is a schedule something like this. We might have sectionals or a team building exercise. We might do some dance or something in the morning. We are incorporating more dance into our shows because that's kind of what's become the mainstream. The big marching band productions are getting a little bit more movement-based than just marching and moving left, right on the field. There's a lot more involved nowadays. But we will bring in a dance instructor to help us just do some basic things. We'll provide lunch, and then in the afternoon, kind of similar stuff, but more like sectional or full brass and woodwinds, maybe with drumline together, guard rehearsal inside. The big thing is, from 9 to 4, our goal is to be inside for as much of that as possible. I don't think we've had to do hardly anything outside in that block because it's hot, right? We don't want to be outside if we don't have to. And our goal is to keep the kids healthy and hydrated even though they're inside, but prepare them for that night rehearsal, which typically is outside. Sometimes we do have some gym space, so we might start that 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock block inside for a little bit, but eventually we go outside. And the goal is to, hey, sun's going down, temperature's going down a little bit, avoid the hottest part of the days being outside and avoid being out in the sun. So that's a typical week in the first week. And then for that week, we'll have kind of like spirit days. Some of these were voted on the kids, so that's where they got Crazy Sock Day. They did Dress Up Like a Dad Day. I asked them, do you want to call it Dad Bod Day or something like that? I don't know. There's something they wanted to try. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of tall white socks and sandals. I don't know, something like that. That's what my dad wore. Anyway, dress up as your favorite staff member day. We're gonna do section color day at the end of the week and Toro band shirt day. So we'll talk about the band shirts, but most of you know the red band shirts that we're talking about, show related shirts that that we give to the kids as a part of their fees. All this information will continue to blast out to you. So don't worry about needing to like take a picture of every slide if you don't want to. We will send a lot of this stuff out. In fact, I might send this out in a PDF form with the next weekly update so you guys can just click it and read through it again if you want. The second band camp week, we'll go 1 to 9. It'll be similar in that we'll have a dinner break that's 2 hours on your own from 4 to 6. But 1 to 4 will be inside. We'll probably do a lot more of our stand tunes on the second week. We'll probably do a little bit more dance or a little bit more visual in the afternoon because I think we have more gym space in the second week. And then we may also have some other special events this week that I'll get to in a little bit. But we'll also go 6 to 9 outside. And usually this second week is where we start to put a lot of drill on the field. So we start doing less marching basics because those first few rehearsals in that first week from 6 to 9 end up to be a lot of marching basics review, just cleaning how our feet look and how we march. And then the second week ends up being a lot more of actual drill learning and getting the show on the field. When we're outdoors, want to have light colored shirts. Basketball shorts are good. We still have kids showing up in jeans. If you can encourage your kids not to walk out the door in jeans anytime we're moving, it's important to have something that we can move in. Socks and athletic shoes like Vans don't work very well. The Vans that they can just kind of like walk out of. You know the boots or the shoes I'm talking about. It's good to have sunglasses or a hat when we're outside as well. I typically wear like a wide-brimmed hat just because I want to cover my face as much as possible. We give a lot of water breaks, okay? Like, depending on how hot it is, we have to give more water breaks. And, it's just the best policy to keep everybody healthy, but also dressing appropriately and wearing sunscreen and things like that, I think are just, important things to remind your kids about. And then water is just super important. Drink it every single break. If we say, go get water, we tell the kids, go get water. And we just got to remind the kids over and over again. And it's something like, typically, if a kid goes down, we've noticed that they didn't get water on a break or something like that. Like, it happens all the time. And it's only because, kids, consciously choose, I don't need water yet. Yeah, you probably did need some water. It's hot out. So this is why I was talking about that second week. Sometimes we have like a back-to-school teacher event. There's a possibility of playing for a freshman orientation. We just don't know for sure yet. I usually have that stuff by this meeting, and we don't actually have anything at this moment. So we have a lot of dates that we have solid set in stone as of today, but this is one that I don't know times and whatnot for in this second week, and we're going to try to make them work close to when our actual camp schedule is. But it is really a cool event to play for the teachers in this space when we come back to school, and it's all the feeder area teachers. They love it. Or I can see, like, Palm and Cheer is planning on performing for the incoming ninth graders, and they have been talking to us about possibly joining them for that. I can see where that would be a really good kind of team building and spirit event. So we're just, bear with us. We're kind of playing it by ear right now because we haven't heard anything official, but we would like to join in on one or two of those events if we possibly can on that second week. So we are wearing uniforms again, but not for our specific show. I'm going to get into that in a little bit. That stuff's going to be kind of a shock, but we will still wear uniforms, full uniforms, like the jackets or the shakos for things like parades and things like special events. We still want to use the actual marching uniforms for. We have fitting days. We're going to try them at 5 p.m. That's in the middle of the dinner break of that second week of band camp. So on those days, you maybe just need to make a special plan of eating something quick and getting back so we can get the students fit from 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock before the night block starts. And that always ends up taking maybe a little bit more time than 6 o'clock, but we'll get the kids back to the field as soon as we can. But the fitting is important, so we have something to wear when we need to use those uniforms, and we have something that fits. It just takes a little bit of time to get everything buttoned. We used to have to sew a lot, and now we don't really have to do that. Now there's just like buttons that we clip in the pants that make them the right length. It's actually pretty genius and awesome. So it doesn't seem to take quite as long. So once school starts, how rehearsal works is this. We have regular practice on Tuesdays and Thursday nights from 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock. We used to do what we called A-hour, and we'd start at 6:30 in the morning and go to 7:30, and then we had a Tuesday night rehearsal in addition to that. The only morning we wouldn't meet was Wednesday. So actually, this rehearsal schedule has taken 1 hour completely off of our plate. So it ends up being 2 nights as opposed to a bunch of mornings and 1 night. But we're actually rehearsing 1 less hour a week due to this schedule. But we've actually found it's a much more productive schedule. And what I mean by that is, if you think about 5 rehearsals on a field compared to 2, that's 3 more times every single week that we would have to lug out our pit equipment, our props, every single thing. Wear and tear, I mean, think about that, just multiplies in that kind of setup. So we came up with this idea of doing 2 nights a week, and in those 3-hour blocks, we can be a lot more productive and keep rolling with momentum as opposed to, our hour's up, got to get off the field kind of thing. And we found it's helped us be a lot more successful and plan a lot better as well. We've always done Monday sectionals. We're not 100% sure at what time the winds will start on Mondays. I'm pretty sure the percussion is still going to be Monday from 6 to 8. That's kind of been where it's been at for, I think 10 years. I think we've been at a 6 to 8 schedule of percussion on Mondays. And then guard comes to their Tuesday and Thursday practices 1 hour before everybody else, and that's where they get their sectional time in. So they don't do the Monday night, they just do 1 more hour on that Tuesday, Thursday. But that's kind of a typical schedule right there, and hopefully the winds will be close to right after school is our plan. That's usually the best way for us to get a little bit more space for everybody. So we do have a football schedule. It just came to us about a week and a half ago. We anticipate we'll have a Friday Night Lights event, again, the week before the first game. That usually involves Palm and Cheer, the football team, and us doing little performances, some community stuff going on where they bring kids onto the field. My belief is, if you haven't heard yet, we are getting a turf football field and a turf practice field. And my belief is this will be a really cool event to kind of show the community our new football field and all of that. And so I think we might actually, because in years past we've just had to arc up because there's no lines on the field. My belief is that we might be able to march just a little bit of our show and show the community a little bit of our show before we actually get to that first away game at Westwood. We do travel and play at all of our home games. So our very first game starts away at Westwood You can see the rest of the schedule. What I want to highlight is October break, and we'll talk about that in a bit. But October break starts on the 2nd and goes to the 10th of October. And so we do have home games at both ends of that schedule. We've been lucky recently to have bye weeks during October break, but that is not the case this year. It's a week after our October break. So I'm going to show you kind of what we're going to do to try to give you guys still some sort of October break. And I think it's probably one of the longest schedules we've had for that, but I'll get to it in a moment. And you'll kind of put 2 and 2 together with how this is set up. But we'll be starting off at Highland at the AZMBA Invitational. Now you're going to see folks that are new. You'll see we have AZMBA, that's Arizona Marching Band Association, and then we have ABOTA, Arizona Band and Orchestra Directors Association. It used to be just ABOTA in the state, and probably 5 or 6 years ago, a group of band directors said, hey, we're going to start our own circuit. That's where AZMBA came from. And it is different. They have an on-field judge as well as judges up in the box. They actually have 2 on-field judges, one doing visual, watching kids' feet, and one doing music and doing individual music comments. But then they also have a slew of judges up at the box in the football stadium as well. So we're going to get those AZMBA shows done early on. Highland, and then Mountain Ridge is really the furthest we're going to travel this year for competitions. And then Corona del Sol will be our first ABOTA Invitational, and then we're going to finish up at Dobson. And these are all qualifiers, those first 4 shows that you're seeing right there. Those are all qualifiers. And then when you get to November 6th, we have the ABOTA State Marching Semifinals. So they actually have a semifinals and a championships. So semifinals will be at Hamilton High School. This is the show that we've hosted in years past. Obviously, with construction going on all around campus, this year we are not going to be able to host a show, which we'll talk about later a little bit too, as far as that was a huge moneymaker for our band boosters and a huge way to bring in funds. And we're going to have to try to find ways to erase those deficits somewhere else this year. But we are not able to host this year. So Hamilton High School will be semifinals. If we finish in the top 8 at semifinals, then we get to go to November 20th to the ABOTA State Championships at Glendale Community College. They're still trying to get back to ASU. ASU is very hot and cold about hosting this. They will tell you, like definitely from the band and even a little bit from the athletic side, they really want to host it at ASU. But there's some other folks that are kind of like, it's too hard on the field, we don't want it here. But I know they're trying to get back to ASU or even possibly in Cardinal Stadium in the future. I know that is something that is in the works, or at least being talked about. But for right now, it's not happening at ASU. It's going to be at Glendale Community College. But they do have a large set of stands, and it still ends up being a really fun atmosphere to perform at. There is no qualifiers for AZMBA championships. That will be at Perry High School again this year. And that's where our season will end with AZMBA is on the 13th. And what we're hoping is on November 20th, and that's what we're working for, is our full season would end on November 20th as a part of the ABOTA State Championships. The last known commitment we have, other than assemblies throughout the school year, is Monday, January 17th. We have a parade for Martin Luther King Day. The Mesa Public Schools all partake in either the Veterans Day Parade or the MLK Parade. 4 go to Veterans Day, 2 go to MLK because it's a little smaller parade. This year, it's our turn to go to the MLK Parade, so that's where we will be on January 17th. We have approximate times for things, but we don't really know exactly when everything will be yet, but we'll get that to you when we know it. So, attendance expectations. So one thing that you'll notice about the marching band compared to like a football team, and I think this probably goes for Pom and Cheer, is very similar to us. Whereas if one person's missing in a pyramid for Pom and Cheer, the pyramid doesn't work. And it's very similar for the marching band, when we have students that aren't here for rehearsals and things like that, it doesn't work very well, okay? Obviously, kids are going to get sick, and if they're sick, they need to stay home, things like that. There will be things that come up. Sometimes our rehearsals conflict with a concert that somebody's in. You need to go to your concert. Like those are things that we absolutely support. We get that. What's most important is communication of those kinds of things. Uncle's birthday party, I just became an uncle, but maybe not the thing to miss a band rehearsal for, but you'll kind of understand what we mean by this. Obviously, there's times that you're going to have to miss just for one reason or the other, but we need everybody out there, because when you practice something and the person that's next to you is gone, and then another person 2 people down is gone, it's really hard to create lines accurately. It's really hard to put the show together, and what we end up having to do is rehearse that same thing again the next time more, because those people still need to learn that spot or whatnot. So attendance is important. We have had to remove kids from shows like over a weekend. We said, hey, you can't perform at the competition this weekend. You didn't learn any of the new stuff, and we can't just have you out there guessing where you're supposed to be. And kids really don't like not being able to perform. I can tell you, when they come off the field, that energy and that excitement is one of my favorite things to see. I love that kind of like, hey, we just performed, that was great, I'm so excited. And the 2 kids that, well, and it's not that often, but every once in a while when we have to pull somebody from a show and they're just walking off because they didn't perform, but they were just there observing, it's not a fun feeling. And we don't do it out of spite. We don't do it out of not liking that student. It's just that if we can't trust that they're going to know what to do at a given moment, we can't have them out there marching. So attendance is incredibly important, and I would say attendance at rehearsals is almost more important than the actual performance, if you get my drift. Like, we're only as good as our best rehearsal moments. Obviously, all these dates that we're giving you right now are required events that we're expecting. Obviously, things come up. In years past, I've had to, students have like, my sister's getting married. I get it. You got to go to your sister's wedding. Hopefully, we can avoid as many of those things as humanly possible. But I do get that sometimes there's just things that are unavoidable. What we were talking about a little bit before with October break is we are going to go to that competition on October 2nd, and that's going to start, that's at the front half of October break, okay? And we figured we really want to go to that competition because we've been rehearsing, and then to not go to a competition that first weekend and then just give them a huge break and then wait to go, I felt like that would be a big letdown. We're going to be building really strong to that moment. And to have that first show at Highland, I think would be a really important step for us. But then, October 3rd through Thursday, October 7th, there's nothing on the schedule, okay? That gives you Sunday through Thursday, technically Sunday through Friday morning, because we won't need to be back until Friday night. We're going to do a football game that night, and then we're going to do, before I get to this, and then after, we're going to do that football game Friday night, and then on Saturday, our hope is to do a rehearsal on that Saturday night, so that we give as much time as possible, but also when we get back, we've traditionally done like a Thursday night rehearsal, and then a football game, and then a competition. We've done a Monday, Tuesday rehearsal before when we've had a bye week on the other end. We've done all kinds of things because, honestly, 10 days off is a lot of time. And it's a lot of time for brass players to all of a sudden lose a lot of endurance here. It's a long time for, oh crap, I forgot my dot kind of thing. We're going to do it so we give you as much time as possible, but we're going to have a competition on the 16th, and we need to hit the ground running, and so we're hitting the ground running on that Saturday after our football game. We're going to do a 4 o'clock rehearsal. The goal is to kind of do a all band member plus invite the families out and have kind of a dinner together, and then do a night rehearsal on our football field that night, okay? So that's kind of our plan for that Saturday, is to kind of get back a little early to prep ourselves for that upcoming competition. Things to keep in mind, SAT, ACT tests. These are dates that you should probably try to avoid, okay? And this is an important one, especially for juniors coming up, or some seniors, obviously, that still want to take the test. But I would try to avoid these dates. The September dates should be good. And you can see these all online, but I would avoid these just because we don't know how early we're going to have to get to the band room on a given day for these competitions. It might be earlier than we expect. And so we don't want to like scramble from an ACT test to the band room on a bus, and just we want to keep those days as stress-free as possible. So the band calendar, toroband.org. If you go to that, the band calendar is good. Left-hand side, you'll see the band calendar link. I know the website is becoming dated, and there's a reason you haven't seen us talking about toroband.org as much recently, is because we're looking into a transition option or timeline into a different website. And that website will probably just turn into my Mesa Public Schools website, and I'm going to adjust it accordingly. But we're looking into going into a new band website pretty shortly. So that's kind of the reason we haven't been talking about toroband.org as much. But the band calendar in Charms, which the link right there, anybody can see. It's live. You don't have to be logged into Charms. Go to toroband.org, hit band calendar. The dates for marching band are good. You can see those now. They're all in there. Okay, let's talk a little bit about band fees, things like that. So the band budget, so our camp fees, we get some ECA donations. We have some school funds, but really that's super limited. Like we have like one coaching contract that we can give out for all of our staff members. But that's like a lot of our programming costs, like our music writing, drill writing. We're buying the kids' band shirts. We're buying performance shirts I'll talk about in a little bit. Then we also have the band booster budget, which is funded by fundraisers. We get some donations to the boosters as well. We've gotten some grants recently. We've gotten all kinds of different funds that fund that, and we'll talk about fundraising in a little bit. But that funds all kinds of stuff. Like we'll talk about, I think, a little later. But you know, we pay for our props and things like that out of those funds. Sometimes we can help supplement some staff people's funds from the boosters as well. The district class fee is not an ECA credit. As a part of taking band at Mountain View, there is a $100 class fee. And that is collected by the district, I think sometime in July before school starts. And I think you can just pay that online, and they'll send you a link to pay for that online. But that is a district class fee. And it goes into it is money that comes to the band, but it's got very limited uses. And so everywhere that the money comes in, they all have different things that I can purchase or pay for out of, but they're all kind of equally important as well. The school band camp fee, this, we call it band camp, but truly is our funds for the season. It's due June 17th, which is a Thursday. I know that seems like an odd day to put the due date on. We wanted to give you guys a little time, but also, so Thursday, or typically the bookstore in the district is only open Monday through Thursdays in the summer, or especially the month of June. So we wanted to put a Thursday date as the deadline. You can pay this online, and there should be, if it's not there already, should be an ECA band camp fee, okay? There should be a band camp fee that you can click on and pay ECA that way. You are limited to $400 per family or $200 per individual, but the band camp fee can be all ECA tax credit if you want. I've had kids that have found neighbors that just are looking for people to give their ECA tax credits to, and they haven't paid a dime for their band camp fees because neighbors just are like, yeah, here, take our ECA, or family members can help supplement that as well. It's a really good way to pay for those fees, but also get us the money we need instantly so we can start using it for the future and paying for the expenses of the year. So band camp fees pay for. So I'm going to highlight this very top thing. We are going to do something a little different. I talked about this just briefly, but our show, a part of show design that's kind of come up recently is that more bands are not using their traditional band jackets, correct? I don't know, those of you that have been around, you've noticed that people are more in costume this year. And something that we're going to do a little different is we're going to be kind of all in black this year. We're going to use our bibbers from our uniforms because they're already black, and then we're going to use a black long sleeve, like kind of Under Armour type material to connect all the way to our black marching gloves, and that's going to be essentially our uniform. We're going to purchase 2 of those for every kid this year. We're still getting some quotes out there on that, but that's going to be that's going to be our uniform this year instead of wearing the jackets. We're starting to get out, and you're going to see in a couple of years it's going to be very uncommon, I think, especially for some of the bigger bands. It's going to be more uncommon to see them actually using their marching band uniforms as is. So that's something that we're going to implement as a part of our show. One thing I will mention, and I'm going to be talking to the kids about this, because we're also not going to be using our shakos. And shakos are the hats, by the way. Shako, I know it's a weird term. Why don't they just call it cap or something? But it's called a shako. We're not going to be using that for the show, the competitive show this year either. And the goal is to make sure we're not having any like dyed pink hair or dyed blue hair out on the field this year. So prep your kids for that. But it's kind of a part of the look that we're going for. Natural hair color is just grand. We're not going to ask anybody to be like, you've got really red hair. Can you make that brown? We're not going to do anything like that. We want your natural hair color is fine. We're also going to try to make sure like any of our boys with like really, really long hair that can't be braided up like we do with some of the girls' hair, if we can get it just a little bit shorter so it at least looks a little more uniform, if you will, and isn't moving around a lot, because that'll actually take off some points because it won't look as clean as well. But we'll talk more to the kids about that, and when they kind of understand more about the show a little bit later, I think the buy-in will be that, hey, we got to do this for the show, and most kids will understand that. We've always typically given the kids 2 of these red band shirts, and because that was a part of the uniform in years past. We're going to just do 1 shirt this year because it's not going to be worn underneath their black shirts. We're going to have to find something. If they want to wear an undershirt, they're going to have to find like another Under Armour type shirt to wear. But we're going to do 1 member shirt that's going to be like a wear this on Friday to school kind of shirt, or wear this to this pep rally, or wear this to this event kind of shirt, which is a little departure, but it's honestly the only reason we ever bought 2 shirts in the past for that was because it was a part of the uniform, and this year it will not be a part of the uniform. We've typically given the kids 3 pairs of gloves through the season. Some kids will have to buy more throughout the season if they don't take care of them, just so you're aware. 1 pair of black socks. Obviously, you guys can take care of buying black socks, but they do have to be long black socks, but we do give them 1 of those every year. The water jugs have been hugely popular. I'm going to buy those this year again out of those fees so that every kid can come get a brand new water jug if they need it. But we'll have a water jug for absolutely every kid that we'll take to every rehearsal. When you show up to rehearsal, it's already filled, ready to go. And we just those have become a kind of a popular part of rehearsal. Like the kids do really like the water jugs, we found. And then all kinds of band camp expenses. Staffing is a big part of it. Show music rights. We need to buy some color guard uniforms and equipment and design those. yeah, there's so many. Like the show music isn't just one person. Like we have one person that writes all the music parts, and we actually have two people writing the percussion parts. And it doesn't cost a lot individually, but it does add up, when you put it all together, and it just pays for a lot of things. And staffing, I think, tends to be probably one of the more expensive things to get that many people at that many rehearsals throughout a season. It costs a little bit of money, and I think we try to be competitive with that pay. So this is just something for you to look at. These are our 2019 numbers. Due to COVID, we have no idea where all these other bands are really this year, because it does take a little effort to find this stuff. I think John Snodgrass has been good at trying to figure out what other costs at other schools are. I think these are all ABOTA competing shows as of programs as of 2019. I think the only similarly sized band that charged about the same amount of money as us was Casa Grande. And I do know for a fact that he also at Casa Grande, because he's a good friend of mine, had like 5 or 6 staff stipends that were given to him from the district, and that's something we don't have. So the reason I'm showing you this isn't to like, hey, look at how less expensive we are. But I do want to say, though, I am very happy to try my best to spread every single dollar as far as I possibly can. And that's the purpose of this. Like, for instance, it's $500 if you consider a $50 spring camp, $100 class fee, and the $350 band camp fee, right? Some of these people, it's $800 because they travel away for a camp. Like that might be the reason that they have to charge another $200 to $300. Sometimes they're adding in a quick jump to California for a weekend and back. There's varying reasons for this. But what we like to point out, I guess, is that we try to make this as affordable as possible, because it is not something that we can, at least at a competitive level, do for free. But I do think we can do it at a competitive level and really try to stretch those dollars as much as we can. So that's something that I think we're at least proud of and are going to continue to try to do for you so that we can make this more affordable and something that we can continue on with. There are some other fees that we talk about throughout the year, like, for instance, marching band shoes. We'll all wear the same shoes. We'll actually do like a little order form closer to band camp. We'll email it out. Shoes are $45 now. They have gone up in price a little bit. All new members will need them. Parents of returning members, double check that your students' shoes are actually fit. That's something that happens every year. I thought my shoes fit, and they run into the first competition or first home game, and they don't have shoes that fit. But double check that their shoes actually fit. Color Guard will wear a different style shoe, and we'll get those priced out. But shoes is an additional cost because not every year do we need to buy new shoes for everybody. Some of the kids get through them for 3 to 4 years, especially some girls that are like done growing by the 9th grade. They can get by with their shoes all 4 years, and then boys are like, I need another new pair of shoes all 4 years. I'm sorry, it sometimes happens. I don't know, like you know how it is. Some of these kids they grow forever, but that's one of the additional costs that we'll have. Obviously, kids need to buy their own reeds, valve oil. Brass and woodwind players, they will need a flip folder for their stand tunes that fits their instrument. And the best way to do this is to take your instrument to Milano's and say, I need a lyre. That's the little metal thing here that holds the flip folder. The flip folder is the farther one. They'll need a lyre and a flip folder to put their stand tunes in. Percussion and front ensemble, drumsticks, mallets, those are things that they will need to purchase. And for drumsticks and mallets, we're going to do actually kind of like a bulk order. And the kids, we've been able to sell sticks for like somewhere around $10. The bass drum sticks are a little more expensive, more in the $20 range, but they do last a lot longer too. And you just got to remind your kids, like, there's some kids that will go through drumsticks every 4 weeks because they're constantly just hitting the rim of their drum as hard as they possibly can and purposely trying to break their sticks. And so if you hold your kids accountable and say, hey, we got to buy these. Every time you need new sticks, you got to pay half or something. I bet they're going to be a lot nicer to their sticks. Same thing with reeds. Like, I have reeds that are 10 years old. That is a fact. And they still are workable. And so when your kids say reeds don't last very long, they're correct in that assumption. They don't last very long if you don't take care of them. Sure, they don't last very long. If you take care of your reeds, they can last a long time. And I'm not saying my 10-year-old reeds are like the best reeds in the world, but they all still play. And every once in a while I have to throw one out, but I just take care not to chip them, things like that. Like, I try to help us out in being responsible for that. But also where the reeds come, you might want to consider a plastic reed or something, at least for marching band. They are kind of spendy in the $20-some range, and they are possible to break, so that's another conversation to have. But I've had some luck with kids getting through entire seasons with a plastic reed that they've never once had to replace, and it plays well the whole year. So something to think about. Guard supplies as well, possibly rifles, things like that. I'm not 100% sure on what the guard all needs yet. Merchandise. So we sell T-shirts, parent shirts, bumper stickers, keychains, hoodies, all kinds of different family attire, things like that. I think we're hoping to open up. You'll probably notice this last year. We had the Toro Band store that we had this last year. I got a Toro Band hat. I love it. We got coffee mugs. My wife and she got the Toro Guard coffee mug, and I got the Toro Band coffee mug. I thought that store idea was pretty cool. We're kind of looking into possibly keeping it open year-round, so it's something that you could order from at any time. So look out for that. But also, something we wanted to mention this year, just so people understand, like, every once in a while we have like this, some parents that will like follow us in someplace, and then they get stopped at the gate to pay for something. We need to go into everything expecting that we might have to pay a gate fee to get in. Football games, we're a little more likely to get all of our volunteers in, no problem. That's a little more likely for the football games. But the shows, we only get a certain amount of wristbands, and a lot of those wristbands go to people that are moving props onto the field first, and then if we have enough left over, it might go to some of the parents that are, helping with hair braiding and being our bus parents that help monitor buses and stuff and chaperone, and so on and so forth. So just know that, there are a finite number of those things that we get, and sometimes you're just going to have to say, "Oh, I got to pay the gate fee." And almost assuredly, if you're just there to watch, there's going to be a gate fee associated with that. But there are some times that if you're signed up to volunteer, we might have enough wristbands for you to get into the show, no problem. It's just not guaranteed, so it's something to think about. We talked a little bit about what the band fees pay for. These are things that are paid for by the boosters. We cover a lot of meals, a lot of awesome meals, in fact. So we do band camp. Like I told you, that first week we'll feed them lunch. But also all of our away games, we feed the kids. Except for this year, because the one away game is over a bye week, we're not going to feed them on that game specifically, because you can just show up already fed. But all the other away games, we get out of school, we feed them right at 3:15 when the bell rings, and then we get their hair braided, and we get them on the bus and go to our football game. We pay for props out of that expense, things that have to do with the truck, capital equipment purchases, some repairs. We have truck maintenance we have to pay for, things like that. If you haven't seen our semi-trailer yet, get ready. It's awesome, but it also is a huge part of what we do and load up, and that costs money to maintain too. Charms is where we keep track of some of your financial information. Like when you log into Charms, you can actually see if you've paid for band camp, spring camp so far or not. That information is in there. So you go through toroband.org and use the Mace Public Schools ID number. So whatever your kid's ID number is, you just go to the Charms access, And then that will be their login information right away. And it already, if you go in that way, it already has the school code ready and uploaded. So you don't need to worry about anything else from there. And if you have trouble with getting in, just send us an email. But if you've never logged in before, the student ID number is your login, okay? But they will prompt you to change that on your next login attempt, or after you log in for the first time. So if you've never logged in before, that's the way to do that. So something with drill that's going to be a little different that we're going to pay for out of the kids' band fees this year is called Ultimate Drill Book. And this is going to be a little bit of this could be some growing pains, I'm going to warn you. But we are done printing 100 and so many drill books anymore. We used to sit by a printer and wait for it to print, wait for it to print, wait for it to print, and it was page after page after page. And then all of that work, and then kid loses their drill book. And we got to print their drill again. And then the next rehearsal, I left my drill book at home. Got to print that drill book off again. And we're just done with using that much paper. So Ultimate Drill Book is an app that can be used on your phone. And I understand for some of you incoming parents that for your student may not have a smartphone or cellular device that could run this kind of program off of. We are going to try to make some ways to work around that. It is still possible to print said drill book, so that is an option. The other thing we're looking for is a way to get some donation devices. Like if you have a smartphone that's like 6 years old or 4 years old or 1 year old, whatever, we'll take it and we'll try to charge them, leave them in the back office. I don't even think they need to be connected to cell service. They just need to be able to hook up to the Wi-Fi in the band room. And they can download their drill. They can log into the app as long as we can get that app downloaded on that cellular device. And they can bring it out to the field with them. There's going to be some things that we're going to have to work with, like, for instance, overheating could become an issue especially in the earlier part of the season. We're going to have to make sure to remind kids, okay, when you're done looking at your drill, lock your phone and put it somewhere on you. Don't just, what causes them to overheat is they leave the screen on in their pocket because they don't want to keep opening up their phone, and that'll cause overheating problems. There's going to be charging problems. A kid was using their phone all day and they're at 10% battery when rehearsal starts. There's going to be some of those growing pains that we're going to have to train the kids for. But one of the things I'm most happy about is that when a kid loses their phone in the band room, the panic that goes over the look of panic over their face is just undeniable. They will do anything in their power to find their phone. They will go through great lengths. If they lose their drill book, it's gone. So many times they will never even make an effort to go find their drill book. They'll just come to me, can you print me more drill? And that is what I'm hoping to avoid. They will have this device that they never want to lose because they need to be on Instagram in 2 minutes. So that is the goal with this, is that this is going to be something that we are not worrying about where your drill is because you've got it right here, and that you're going to be able to use it whenever you need it. And obviously there's going to be other growing pains having to do with, hey, you got to stay off social media when we're in rehearsal. We're rehearsing right now. Don't text your friend across the band. Stop that. We're learning drill. There's going to be some growing pains, and there might be a kid that we have to say, give us the phone, we'll give you some different drill, you know. But we're hoping that we can understand that, nope, it's rehearsal time. It's time to work. It's time to get the show on the field and just make good choices out on the field with that. So I'm hoping this is going to be a positive step. Most of the people that I talk to that have used it, including Jeff Whipple, uses it a lot with Phenom, which is a kind of younger academy. If you know the Academy Drum and Bugle Corps, which is based out of Tempe, they have a smaller drum corps that's called Phenom, that's built, or that is a part of the same organization, but basically built for younger students and has like a little different, a smaller rehearsal schedule, let's say. They are using it, and Jeff just loves it. He thinks it's absolutely the way to go. He thinks it's going to be a good step for us, and he uses it out in the sun in Tempe in the middle of the summer, like they are outside. And he said, no, it's not a problem. Kids just have to remember to like turn their screens off, and when they're not using it, keep it somewhere in the shade or things like that, and they'll be okay. So we will, if there's a problem with a cellular device, I just need to know. Send me an email, and I'll try to connect you with something, and we'll figure it out from there. Or if you have something old and you don't want to connect it to any cell service and you just want your student to be able to use Ultimate Drill Book, that's I think, a great option. So there's going to be some stuff on charms that the kids need to get to. Their warm-ups are on there. Old Hundredth. We'll email out a full list of here's what everybody needs to have downloaded. For the most part, percussion has been handed every single one of their auditions and not auditions, warm-ups and music. But for like all the wins, we need to get their stand tunes and their warm-ups downloaded. We've actually handed some of that to them, so this is kind of like the stand tunes are we have not given to them, but the warm-ups, for instance, we have handed them a physical copy. Now, if they need another copy because they lost it, they can go get that copy and make that for themselves. But you can check out some of the student info on charms too. It's important we get the correct T-shirt size for ordering. Obviously, not only their band shirt, but now the performance shirts that we're going to be using for the actual field show. That's incredibly important info. And all of you should have a Charms account at this point. So please go on there and make sure the T-shirt size is accurate. Check your parent info. And then if it for some reason you say, hey, I paid the $50 spring camp fee, but it's not showing up in here, tell us, and we will go see why we can't find that. Okay? Those are some to-dos for you guys. ToroBand.org we talked about. It's going to look different in the future, but right now you can get into Charms and you can get into the calendar from there. We do have these Facebook groups, the Mountain View Toro Marching Band Alumni Fans page in particular. The Twitter at Toro Band, MVT, MB Toro Band, I should say. Instagram, MVT Band, Toro Guard, both have Instagrams as well. I say all this, like the most important way I'm going to communicate with you, though, is email. And hopefully you're seeing the emails. If you're not seeing any emails from me, you need to talk to me or John Snodgrass, who's in the back here, because that is so important that you're getting emails. That is stuff like, I talked to all the kids today about this, for instance. They're all on different social media platforms. They're not all on one. And it would be really hard for us to message every single one of these social media things. But email, they're going to have to use it for school. They're going to have to get used to using their email. And I've just been saying check it once or twice a day so that you're making sure you're staying up to date with information. And we can send out mass texts, but we like to save those for like absolute like emergency situations. Rehearsals canceled, don't come to school kind of thing. You know, last minute kind of details would be our preference there. So, what can you do? Attend games, attend performances. The kids love having you there. I promise you that. The kids love having you there. The boosters sit together up in the stands. We have kind of like our parent section. And it's just awesome to have a big parent presence at everything we do. You'll notice the competitions where they have the most parents from a certain school because they absolutely go wild at certain parts of the show. And it's appropriate to clap in the middle of the show at appropriate times. But it is so much more impactful if we can have more parents at those competitions cheering us on. The judges hear it. They say it doesn't affect what they do, but I think it's baloney because it just builds energy and it just builds that atmosphere of, wow, that was great. And so we want you there. We want you at all of these events that you can possibly get to. It's just a great way to get together, and honestly, it's just a great community, I think, when we have all of you here supporting the band. Like, that's what we're trying to build, community and just kind of a place to be, not only for the kids, but parents, just a fun place to say, hey, these are other band parents that also are supporting their kids, and you know, making friends and bonds for you guys, too, is really cool. I talked about those former parents. They get together still. You know, it's an awesome place, and all you have to do is show up and say hi and you know, start helping out or what have you, and it ends up being a really great thing for everybody, and it helps us be better. So we're going to talk a little bit about the band boosters. almost everybody's here. They're just going to say a couple things and kind of make, more so than anything, give you kind of a, hey, this is who I am, this is what I do for the boosters kind of thing. And some of these parents are very new to these jobs and saying, hey, I'm still figuring out what all of this entails because we didn't have a season last year, and this is kind of my time to learn. But they're just like you. They're just taking on a new role within the organization. So I'm going to bring up Jeff Wild. He was here, right? Oh, there he is. Good. Bring up Jeff Wild. He is our band booster president. Yeah. And he has also been helping us with some sound equipment at the front of the show and helping us buy some new equipment over the last couple of years. And he got involved kind of that way and said, yeah, I can be the president-elect, and has taken over this year. So I'm going to give the microphone to Jeff, and we'll kind of go through a couple other folks here, and then we'll get you all out of here. Here's Jeff.
All right, so I am the Band Booster president, and this is my first year in this role. My daughter is Marin. She plays baritone, and I noticed that as a volunteer, it helped me to bring our relationship a lot stronger, but it also allowed me to meet some very neat parents and build relationships that way. So what I would like to do at this time is I would like to bring up the rest of the Band Booster Council. So if I could have James, who is the Band Booster President-elect, Amy Adair, Lolly, Crandall, Andy McKee, and Brandy, Tammy Cruz, and Angela, and Shauna, and then also Jennifer, just along the stage. Yeah, we don't get to hide behind each other. So right now, these are the faces of the Band Booster organization. Also, I need Charlie McKee to come up because she's also the VP of Communications. Oh, you're taking pictures? You can come up for a second. So what I would like to do now is I would like to give Andy a few moments for some business.
Thanks, Jeff. Wow, that's loud. I'll do my intro in a minute, or after everybody else does theirs. I would like John Snodgrass to come up stage, please. Most of you know or don't know, our lovely photographer over here used to be our band president. So a lot of us got together and we decided to do something nice for her. This lovely lady I've been married to for this is going to be our 21st year. So we've been together since 97 after I got out of the military. We've been married since 2000. She's put up with me that long. Yes, she's an awesome lady. John, myself, Adam, Steven, everybody else behind me, we all kind of pitched in and got something for her. I want to turn it over to John.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. I think, a lot of people look at me and say, why do you spend so much time here? A lot of it is these people right here. These are phenomenal people, but they do so much work for your kids. And in particular, there's a role here that Jeff and James, as our president-elect, and Charlie in particular, being the president, they own all the responsibility. And I have to tell you, Charlie stepped into this role 2 years ago. Nobody else wanted to do it. Can you imagine that in a volunteer organization? Nobody wants to be president. Charlie said, I'll do it. And I have to tell you, you have been a breath of fresh air of just making this fun and enjoyable, not only for the kids, but for us as adults. And I can't thank you enough for all that you've done for the Toro Band program. So with that, we'd like to give you a certificate of appreciation and just say thank you.
You're gonna make me cry. Thank you, guys. I just want to say the Booster organization, all you parents out here, you're Booster parents. Don't know it yet, but you are. These people couldn't do anything without these people. Your kids would not starve without these people, pass out on the field. They're crazy for doing this, but they're awesome. After the meeting, reach out to them and talk to them. If you're even considering wanting to help, just go talk to them. We'd appreciate it. And thank you again.
So as you can see, and thank you, Charlie, for the segue, we need help. We need lots of volunteers, and there's many things that you can do. We do realize that everybody has an outside life, and what we're going to do is set up a calendar so that the days that you can be there, we will expect you to be there. But if you can't, let us know in advance. What I'm going to do now is just hand the mic over, and we're going to take a moment to introduce ourselves. So we'll start with James.
What's that?
I guess it's me. I've done this job for about a month and a half. And my son's a freshman, so last year doesn't count. So I have no idea what I'm doing, but we'll figure it out as we go along. So if you don't want to join because you don't know what you're doing, that's not an excuse. I don't know what I'm doing either. So my son is a freshman this year. He plays the trumpet. He's also on the wrestling team. I don't see him between about 7 in the morning and 9 o'clock at night. And I'd rather it be that way. I'd rather he be super busy and involved because then he's not on his computer as much. So that, I don't know what this stuff is. We'll figure it out. Okay. I don't know who's next. Shauna.
Hi, my name is Shauna Robinson, and I'm the treasurer as part of the Booster organization. That means I deal with the money and the math, and I make mistakes every now and then with adding or spelling. Just know that it's all accounted for, every penny of it. I have in the band this next year my son William, who will be a sophomore. He loves band, and I have to tell you, the band organization is amazing. Okay. So I guess we're going to get right to the numbers. Everyone else got to talk about themselves, but I don't get to. Okay. I want to go home. Okay, so we need to discuss these numbers really, really fast. The top part between the blue line and this big, long blue line, that is our fundraisers. Yes, we fundraise. Yes, we need your help because everything below this big line down here and all of that over there is things we spend money on that makes the band program, the marching band program, and just the band program the amazing program it is. It all goes to the kids. It's what makes our band awesome. So we have to approve this budget by vote. So we will be taking a vote in a minute. So at the top, you see fundraisers. We're going to talk about that in a microsecond. Down below, though, we have hospitality. That's us feeding the kids and feeding the kids. That's Tammy. She's amazing. Then we have equipment. That's Andy. He does great things. This helps keep the kids' instruments going where they need to go and in the places they need to be. It takes money to rent a semi-truck for every game and every competition. We don't have to pay for that semi-truck always, but all that equipment, wear and tear, all of that stuff we have to do, props cost money. Then we have procurement. Oh, Lolly. Okay, thank you, Lolly. I'm trying to remember who went where. All right, that's your first aid, hair supplies, that braiding. They take bobby pins. It takes hairspray. First aid, keeping your kids feeling good on that field when it's 110. Sometimes takes a little bit of first aid. It takes that Gatorade powder. It takes lots of water, sometimes extra little nutrition because sometimes they miss dinner. We ask for donations. We try to keep those numbers really low, but you know, if we don't get donations, we still have to keep kids marching. We have operations, water. All those water bottles, they come filled, bring them filled. They have to be filled, but they get emptied because they got to drink, and then we have to refill. So we have 10 gallons, John, thermoses, and they get used, 5 times a week, and they get broken, so we have to buy more. We need a budget for that. We have fundraising where we support our football team. Then we have costs just for the boosters, because we're a corporation, so we have fees, we have all of those things. Treasurer, banking fees, little things, we keep that really small. Staff stipends. So you saw the caption heads. We are able to help support, what's that word, pay, hire. Oh my gosh, that sounds weird. But anyway, so we help fund that money, though. We help fund those caption heads. They are amazing people, and it's with our help that we get to keep them. We have to remain competitive. And then we also have winter guard expenses. We have director, staff, and then discretionary fund. Adam is, Mr. Rish, excuse me, sorry, Adam. Mr. Rish. He gets a little bit of money to spend as he sees that we need. He asks, he's amazing, but just little things that pop up that the kids need, or there's a shortage in something, and that's where discretionary fund comes, and it's always voted on. And then, of course, we also have a guest musician that we love to bring in the spring semester. The kids just totally enjoy it. So that's just explaining kind of what the categories are. There is one category down here with one line item down here that we'll talk about in just a minute with fundraising. But I would like to motion that we approve the budget for the 2021 school year for the band boosters. Or can I get a motion? That's what I should have said. Thank you. All in favor? Any opposed? All right. Peggy is not here, but I'm going to bring Jen up. Great. Jen, come on over here. Fundraising. I promised I would talk about that big part up here. Fundraising. This is Jen Wild. She is amazing, and her and Peggy Green are our fundraising committee heads. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Peggy more so, but yes.
Yes. All right. So you see, we've got dining outs. We want to do a pancake breakfast. We do that clothing drive. We're going to have a clothing drive next weekend. You got that stuff around your house that you don't want anymore? Bring it to the school next Saturday in the morning, and we will turn it into money for the band. We have dinner and a show possibly. We have merchandise sales. That's those keychains and stickers and shirts and all the amazing things that you can buy to support your band kids. We will do a car wash, right? Yes, okay, we are doing a car wash. I think in July between the 2 weeks of band camp. That's what I was seeking confirmation for. Party sales sounds a little ambiguous, but we have sold candles, we have done Pampered Chef, we have done Coffee Bean. Those are those kind of independent contractor party sales that we're talking about there. We have Christmas ornament sales, monetary donations. All of you got that packet, and one of the sheets was, how are you going to volunteer? We need you to volunteer. And at the very bottom, it had a line. I don't have time, but I'll give money. Right there. Monetary donations. We can take that. We need that too. Retail stores, that's your Fry's, your Amazon. Put the marching band on your person that you support through Amazon Smiles. Go to Kroger or Fry's. I'm sorry, Midwest is Kroger. And sign up Mountain View High School Band Booster Association, and then that helps the band. We have the Toro Truck sponsorships. If you've got a business, your uncle, brother, whoever wants to advertise on our Toro Truck, which is amazing and an eye draw, so it really does get out there, we want them to become one of our sponsors. We also have grants through work that we get. Mr. McKee, through Intel. This year we just got a large donation from Intel because of his volunteer hours. Check with your work if they have a program like that, and then come volunteer and get a donation for our band program. It is amazing, and we are so, so grateful. Underneath it is the Fundraise Genius with Scott Lang. And, oh good, I'm sorry, I didn't carry along my line, it's too curvy. And you're gonna see a giant number there. We are going to do this fundraiser specifically to start raising money to replace some of our aging instruments. Mountain View isn't young. We haven't gotten new brass sousaphones. We have some other instruments, I'm sure, that are just, they're falling apart. I mean, we're doing an amazing job. Mr. Tuneman and Adam do an amazing job at keeping it together and keeping it together. But, you know, that sousaphone just won't go back together sometimes. And so we are actually aiming to raise at least $20,000 with this fundraiser this year so we can purchase 3 new sousaphones. That's only 3 sousaphones, and we need a whole line of them. But this is where we want to start. So you saw down here, instrument repairs, replacement, $21,000. That's, we really, really want that fundraise genius fundraiser to be that the way we make that happen. So I just want you to understand that fundraising, I know you're like, oh, you just want more money. We do want more money. That's being honest. But we want you to reach out to your people around you. You know, we take any kind of sponsorships. You've got any way you want to support. So not only do we want your time, honestly, we want you to help us find new ways to earn money too. So please, please, always come up. Any money questions, come find me, Shauna Robinson, and thank you.
Also our dining outs.
Oh, I forgot that. Jen's going to tell you all about that.
We have dining outs that we do. We're going to try and do 2 a month. And we'll get flyers out and information out to you every month on where they're going to be. This month we have Twisters, frozen yogurt, and backyard taco. It's important that when you do go to those dining outs that you either take the flyer with or mention at the time of your purchase that it's for Mountain View Toro Band, so that part of the sale proceeds go to us. And that's it.
As you can see, I'm James Washburn. I am president-elect, and let me just say that these guys are pretty fantastic. I came in, my daughter was a freshman last year, and she played in the drum line, and I just kind of was watching how they just kind of operate and how they do things, and they said they needed help, so I was like, okay, where do you need help at? And, well, yeah, I mean, if you're very flexible like I am and just happy to do whatever, I guess you could say that, but yeah, I guess that's the wrong question to do, because then I was like, well, we have an opening for president-elect. I don't know what I'm doing, but okay. But guys, seriously, it is a lot of fun. And I didn't even really gotten that into it because of what happened last year. But even what we did last year was a lot of fun. The camaraderie is great. Everybody is just real friendly, and the volunteering, can be hard work, especially if you work under the slave driver Andy there. But it is a lot of work. It is a lot of fun, and I encourage any help. I mean, it doesn't have to be every time, every day, but any amount does help. A little bit about myself. I am an alumni here. I graduated in '97. Was in the marching band. I played in the drum line all 3 years, and it was great. It was a lot of fun. But one thing we didn't have boosters. One thing we didn't have all the assets and all the things that we have here. So these kids are I wouldn't say spoiled, but they're very, very blessed to have all this, and you guys participating, even being here. So this is pretty awesome from somebody from the standpoint that never had any of this. So happy to be here and happy to give what I can, and hope that get to know all of you soon, and we can work together and make this a great year. Who's next?
All right, I'm Tammy. My oldest kid is a senior this year. She's been in the trombone section, and then I have a sophomore orchestra kid who's actually been doing color guard. So I've been at this. This will be my 5th year coming up, which is crazy to think about. But I'm in charge of feeding the kids, and we feed them very well. And I love that when the kids come through the food line, they are so appreciative and so grateful, and they say thank you to all of us. So if you're someone who likes to eat, likes to smell food, likes to cook, likes to bake, come talk to me afterwards. The commitment for volunteering with hospitality during the spring band, the summer band camp, will be during that lunchtime, and we feed them typically in this lobby over here. We're inside and air conditioned, and we get to eat the leftovers. So I mean, there's no bad things about that. And then during the season, we typically, before football games, the away games, we feed them. So that's about 3 o'clock, 3:30. We'll feed those band kids. before they get into uniform and are off to the game. There are little other things that come here and there. Oftentimes there'll be a Sign Up Genius that goes out with donations for food. Again, we try to keep the cost down as much as possible. So if your time isn't available, but you're able to go to the grocery store and pick us up some food that we need, that's great. If you love to cook for large quantities of people, which I do, my kitchen is very busy during that summer band camp. If you like to cook, please come let me know, and we'll definitely get you in on that as well. Some of the things we get from Cane's, from Barlow's Pizza, we try not to leave all of the cooking to ourselves because we would really go nuts. But if that's something that really speaks to you, we have a great time passing out the food, preparing the food, and planning the menu. So come talk to me afterward. I would love to get to know some new new parents of the members of our marching band. Thank you so much.
So I'm Jennifer. Peggy Green is not able to be here today. Her and I are both doing fundraising. And we already went over and talked about it. But just a little bit, our daughter, I'm married to Jeff, and our daughter will be a senior this year. Being a part of this group is just amazing. The friendships that you get, the camaraderie, being able to spend time with your kids, because like the other parents said, that your kids are gone all the time. The only time you're going to be able to see them is if you do participate and help and be a part of it. And, in the beginning, our daughter probably wasn't all keen with us being there all the time, but now she is, and she loves it. And to be able to see the success that she has had over these years with marching band and the progression that has happened and how she has become as a person, and to be able to be there and witness it has just been priceless. So come help, volunteer as much as you can. You won't regret it.
Hi, I'm Lolly Crandall. I'm the procurement vice president. I did fundraising and then I passed it on to try something new because this is my 8th year. I can't get enough of being a part of this organization. It's awesome. It's so much fun being with the kids. You make lifelong friends and relationships being a part of this band. It's an amazing thing to see your kids grow and to grow yourself. It's awesome. Things that procurement does. Procurement, we braid your kids' hair before all of the events. So I need volunteers. Always need volunteers. We need to keep uniforms pressed. We need to fit them. That will happen during band camp. I need volunteers. If you can come one night, that's awesome. If you can only come for, just to braid one Friday afternoon, that's awesome. Come. We welcome you anytime. So come, be a part. Thank you.
It's lots of fun.
Yes.
Hello, I'm Brandy Banning. This was my first year as VP of Operations, but it'll be my 4th year on the water crew. My daughter is a flute player, started out, and I've just kind of been hanging around with these group of people, and they're a lot of fun. It's a lot of good times. We have a lot of laughs, but we also really take care of the kids. We've got all of the water jugs that we've set up, take them to the games, get them ready, take them on the trucks when we go to away performances. We've also got first aid if the kids are feeling woozy or they need a snack or they're about to pass out. We've got cold cloths. Just really taking care of the kids is what it's about. Being there, watching their excitement has been one of the most awesome parts. And if you want to just come and help, for the football games, we set up flags so that the parents can sit in one particular area. And it's just fun to be with like-minded people. We're all here for the kids. And if you can volunteer, help out, water crew, or anything else, we would love to have you. Thanks for coming today, you guys.
It's my turn again. I already talked, huh? Hi, guys. I'm Andy McKee. I'm in charge, or my responsibility is that big O semi that Adam told you guys about. My position, I see some of you guys were on the truck previously, kind of volunteered a little bit, which is cool. My job is basically the truck, the props, and just getting everything to and from the shows, the football games, everything like that. Everybody's beating it like a dead horse. We need volunteers. Volunteers, volunteers, volunteers. This year's show is going to be huge, ladies and gentlemen. We will need volunteers. I can't wait. Adam was talking about when the kids come off the field and they know they had a great show. But to be a parent volunteering and being on the field or on the sideline watching them perform the show when the battery and the brass hit, or when the kid comes off the field and thanking you for your hard work. To me, that's why I volunteer. This is like my 6th year. I don't know. Our daughter is going to be a junior next year. Our son did it for 4 years. His freshman year, I was broken. I actually broke my foot. But you guys saw Shane earlier. Shane was disappointed he couldn't get me on the truck his freshman year, Sebastian's freshman year, so it was kind of funny. But as soon as that was done, Sebastian's sophomore year, Shane was like, "You're with me, come on." And it's a non-stop, don't look back. All I can say, guys, volunteer, 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 have fun. Any questions, talk to one of us. Everybody talks about camaraderie. We have a blast. After the football games or after a competition, we'll go out and eat together. We'll go have, I can't say go have a drink, but we'll go eat together. We'll have a pizza or something like that. So please, 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 please volunteer.
Hello, I'm Angie. I will be the VP of Color Guard this year. It's my first year doing anything like this. I did help a little bit last year, not very much. My daughter's going to be a senior, and she's like, "Mom, come on, please do this. I want you there." So I stepped into the role. I did speak with Melanie a little bit, see what she was looking to do. I know that the regular band is going to be doing uniforms in July. She's actually kind of hoping to do uniform fittings in June. That way we can get the costumes early enough. So we would like the color guard to try and make it to the June ones so that we can get them fitted for their uniforms early. She's also seeing if maybe we can do a lot of fundraising so we have that money for the winter guard. And also she wants a sound system so that she has the sound system to use for them when they practice in the small gym. And like everybody else, volunteers, we need volunteers.
So yes, please volunteer. We have a good time. This is a pretty recent picture from just a couple seasons ago, but yeah, there's just a lot of fun to be had, and we thank you all for being here. This is the one meeting every year that's a little bit of a marathon because there's so much stuff to go over. But please, when we have meetings coming up, they're typically a little bit on the shorter side, and we'll give you more concert band and marching band information, and just kind of keep you in the loop on things. And but really, thank you so much for being here. If you have questions, send us an email. Your kids just got out just a little bit ago, so they're probably looking around trying to find you. But send us an email. I'll leave this up so you can get our emails easily. But I want to make sure I can get you guys out of here. So yeah. Oh, what's okay? Oh, they're selling some Toro merchandise in the lobby as well. So if you're interested in grabbing anything now, go for it. Thank you so much for coming. I appreciate it. Have a great rest of your weekend. Happy Mother's Day, moms.